Happy New Year, everyone. Today, we are taking a moment to look back on 2021 and start 2022 with gratitude. Stay until the end of the video where I share my progress towards my financial goals from 2021. Hi, I'm Jessica, and I love talking about financial freedom after experiencing burnout early on in my pharmacist career. On this channel, we talk about passive income and simplifying to combat feelings of burnout and stress in your life. I also share openly about my burnout story and how we paid off massive student loan debt. Make sure to watch those videos as well. Before we get started with a recap of 2021, I want to thank each and every one of you for watching and following along, being able to share a piece of my passion on this platform, on my blog, on my podcast. It's been such an honor to grow this community together. Thank you again for your encouragement and your messages. I can't wait to hear what's in store for 2022 for all of you. Before we get started with the 2021 recap, I want to remind you that we can plan out our action steps and our goals any time of the year. We do not need to wait till the first of the year. We do not need to wait till the Monday of the week. I'm not a big New Year's resolution type of person. I am a goal getter. So we can plan those out any time of the year. You can plan those out for your personal and professional development. You can plan those out for your personal lives, whatever works best for you. To go back and see how I set goals, you can go back to our podcast episodes linked below on the KEYNOTE method, so you can go through the KEYNOTE method on how I goal set overall. You can also see the 10 pillars I like to check in on our weekly joy check, and these are the 10 pillars I like to set goals in or combine similar categories together. You can also use a SMART goal method when you're looking at goals and reflecting on them. I know that 2021 was challenging for many people, and I'm very grateful for my health, my family's health, and the joys that we brought into our lives day to day. I want to remind you, while you're listening to a lot of goal setting and recap videos during this time of year, that it's important we don't compare our lives to other people's lives. All of our lives look different. Please do not compare your journey and your life with my reflections and my achievements. We all write our own unique stories in life, and we all have really unique meaning and contributions to make to this world. So I hope this inspires you and it does not induce some kind of comparison syndrome. Let's start off with my word of the year for 2021. My word of the year was abundance, and we're going to reflect on this throughout the video, and I'll come back to it at the end when we're talking about financial reflections to see if I achieved my word of the year of abundance. Let's start off with the category of work and mission in our weekly joy check. In this category, I had several subcategories of goals towards my work. Let's start off with one of the big goals for work in 2021. One of the big goals was to relaunch this YouTube channel. Now, I had started this YouTube channel back in 2016, 2017 when I first started blogging, and I wanted to get really intentional with being able to show my face and come on video because the podcast was already about a year and a half old by that time. So I had gotten used to the audio part, and I wanted to do a lot more video. So my goal for the year was to publish one video a week for the first year. Now, when I started this, I originally had started to publish videos in January and February of 2021, but I pushed back that goal to March, and the channel relaunched in March of 2021, and I met this goal by publishing a video each week of the year. So I published just over 40 videos this year. I also was able to expand on topics that I was really passionate about and wanted to add value to this community. So besides talking about well-being and burnout on this channel, we also talked about financial well-being, and a lot of that resonated with you, as well as some pharmacy resources that I know that a lot of our community is in the pharmacy or healthcare world as well. So that was a big achievement to achieve that goal, and I'm continuing that goal in publishing a weekly video for the first year of this YouTube relaunch, so you can see that coming up in our 2022 goal setting video as well. The next goal in 2021 related to work and business was to continue the podcast with weekly episodes. So in 2021, I did publish over 40 episodes on the podcast, and we continued weekly episodes through July of 2021. And then after July, starting in August, we went to every other week episodes. So this goal was mostly met, in my opinion, because in order to focus on the YouTube portion and the video portion, I decided to decrease the podcast episodes. And it was something that I still feel the goal was achieved. The podcast is doing amazingly well. A lot of you are listening to it, and I know that it's great to listen while you're working out or on your commute in the car. So it's definitely something that I'm really proud of, and the podcast is continuing in 2022 as well. One of my stretch goals for 2021 was to really increase and grow my keynote speaking event and how I am able to add value to healthcare organizations and to corporate organizations on topics such as well-being, burnout, and simplifying your life. So my goal for 2021 was to be a keynote speaker for 10 events. And I went above and beyond in this goal and had over 34 events in 2021. And I can't believe, looking back on it, that I served 34 different organizations with their events, from big organizations like DocuSign and LinkedIn and lots of different pharmacy organizations. It was such a pleasure being able to come in and connect with your communities and add value to your team members. You can see some of my past events on my speaking page, and I would love to connect with you if you have an organization that is looking for a virtual speaker. My next goal related to work was press and features, and it's something that I really enjoy doing. And my goal was to have at least 5 events or 5 publications related to press and features. And I was able to achieve this. I was a guest on over 9 podcast episodes in 2021, and then I was featured in different magazines. So a pharmacy technician magazine, a USC School of Pharmacy magazine, and being able to write articles for that and get featured was amazing. So you can see all of the features on my features page. I have them going back the last few years. You can see, articles, podcast episodes, different things if you'd like to go listen to those as well. My next goal was related to digital products and online courses. It's something that I'm really passionate about, being able to connect with all of you and to come into your lives to add value to them, whether it's through our online courses, Joy at Work, Simplified course, or it's more of our pharmacy resources on Find Your Script. It's something that I've really been a passion of mine to be able to reach beyond the classroom setting, and I had the best year ever in our digital products and online courses. So thank you again for investing in yourselves and taking action in your life. My next goal was actually to shut down a couple aspects of my business and some of my revenue streams. And this was something that was actually very difficult. It took a few months into 2021 to do this because I had dedicated so much time the previous year to these things, but it was really something that I needed to do to free up my time and to really think about how it aligned with my values and my goals. So I shut down 2 aspects and 2 revenue streams in my business, and I feel a lot lighter coming out of that decision in 2021. Now, finally, to recap, my work and mission is my full-time position as an associate professor and pharmacist. So a couple of my goals in that area was to recertify in some of my certifications. So I'm board certified in critical care. So I finished over 49 hours of continuing education credits related to my pharmacy and my board certification. I also finished up my recertification for BLS and ACLS, which are both things that as a critical care pharmacist, we renew every 2 years in our training process. The next goal in my pharmacist career was to also have a peer-reviewed publication published in 2021. And you know that I publish a lot of content here on YouTube with the podcast, my blog, and articles, but those actually are not considered peer-review articles. So it's something that I did not accomplish in 2021. We did submit manuscripts that are up for revision. So my goal is going to be moved into 2022 instead. The next category for reflecting on 2021 goals was experiences. And I know that this was a challenge in a lot of ways with the uncertainty of 2021, but one thing that I really wanted to make sure we got on the calendar was to get married. We had been engaged since February of 2020, and we had been together as a couple several years and living together. So it's something that I wanted to have some meaning and experience in our lives, and it's something that we did achieve in 2021. We are married, we're husband and wife, and I have a separate video on why we did not have a wedding that you can watch as well on the YouTube channel. The next category is friends and family, and it's something that during the challenges of 2021, I wanted to get really intentional with monthly video calls to friends and some of my girlfriends, and monthly video calls with some of my family members who lived out of state. So it's something that I was able to set up and make sure that we got on the calendar each month, and something that really added a lot of joy to my life through 2021. So I'm really glad that I was a lot more intentional with those connections and being able to set those things up. I was also able to see my nieces and nephews, and a couple of them who were in their first year of life, and it was something that really brought a lot of joy into my life, being able to see them grow during the past year. The next category is related to movement and health, and many of you know that I love my hydro rower. It's something that I view as my best investment in 2020. So if you want to learn more about how I move my body and how I love the hydro rower, you can also see the review linked below. But one of my goals related to movement was to get on my hydro rower 4 to 5 times a week. Now, this is something that was within my control and something that I did meet this goal, and I was able to achieve all of the meter goals related to it as well. So I achieved my 1 million meter goal in May of 2021, then 1.5 million meter goal right before Thanksgiving of 2021. And it's something that I love all the challenges and all the community building behind the hydro rowing community. And they also have different workouts related to non-rowing. They also have Pilates and stretching and yoga as well, and it's something that I might be considering for my 2022 goals. But right now in 2021, I really met my hydro movement type of goals. For the learning category, I was really focused in 2021 on reading books. My goal was to read over 30 books and apply the action steps from them, and I was able to achieve this. I was able to read over 20 finance related books and then about 10 other personal development or just leisure type of books. And it was something that I love doing. I also recapped my 10 favorite books to read in 2022 on the podcast. So you can also listen to that episode linked below. For learning, I already talked about how I learned related to work in my mission and some of the continuing education credits I invested in for my pharmacist career. I also invested in a YouTube course, and I highly recommend that YouTube course for growth. It's something that I really enjoyed, so I will link it in the show notes as well. The next category in our weekly joy check was our mental emotional health, and it's something that I do view separate from the rest of our health. And I really wanted to focus on how I could take care of myself before I took care of others. And it's something that I put up really healthy boundaries this year. I think that I really met a lot of the ways I wanted to grow in this area. And one of the other ways that we addressed this as a couple was to welcome a new family member into our lives, Lucky. He is our Bernedoodle puppy. He is now 9 months old, and it was really something that having that emotional support animal in my life was really important, and he really brings a lot of joy and laughter into our lives. It also was something that helped me get out of the house during 2021. Working from home and going through some of the challenges that everyone went through in 2021. I think that it really helped me be able to connect with a dog and, be able to go outside and walk him and play with him was really important in my emotional and mental health as well. And then I already talked a lot about health and some movement health. The other part of health that I had a goal around in 2021 was to start transitioning more of our eco household into eco-friendly products that were non-plastic based, because we had been using eco-friendly products, but they were packaged in a lot of plastic and shipped in a lot of plastic. So I wanted to start intentionally reducing our plastic consumption. So we started to reduce this by switching out to our different types of toilet paper, bamboo based. We also switched out our tissue or Kleenex to reusable options. And I started switching out body lotions and shampoos as well in our house. And I will link all those products below. I have an eco non-plastic living page that I'm going to be updating as well as we switch out more products in our home if you'd like to follow along. Because we just want to be really intentional with what we're adding to landfills each year and how we can be really intentional. I think it's really important, as we switch out different household cleaners and just everyday use products to be less plastic based and more eco-friendly. It can be really helpful in our environment, especially here living in California. Okay, the category that many of you are probably waiting for is our financial category, and to see how I'm in progress in this financial category in 2021. And this was a year of a lot of big growth and a lot of steps forward towards my financial independence retire early journey. If you've never heard of financial independence retire early, I have a separate video on how I plan to do that, so make sure you watch that video as well. So my big goal was a savings rate over 70% this year. And I was able to achieve that. The average savings rate was between 70 and 85%. Sometimes I even got, close to that 85% multiple months. And it was a great feeling to have that savings rate so high in comparison to previous years. My previous years, sometimes the savings rate was 10, 20, 30%, and being able to increase that significantly this past year was really important. The next part of my financial goals was to really invest in my learning and development in this area to make sure I was really confident in it, because I did not want to pay someone else to manage our investments in our portfolios, which a lot of healthcare professionals tend to do. So I wanted to be able to do this on our own. And I read over 20 finance books. I already talked about that. I invested a lot of time and energy into this so that I was able to manage my portfolio. And I've now taken over my husband's portfolio and managing his as well. The next goal was to track all of our finances on our KAKEIBO template. It's something that I love doing. It's pen and paper. You can have the KAKEIBO download. It's linked below. And then I also track it in a digital form as well so that we're able to compare year over year. I have 2015 through today's data together into an Excel file that's really easy to track. And I also was able to go back and put all of my husband's data in from 2015 until now. So we're both having several years of data that we've tracked, and it's just great to see how it's grown over time. My next goal was to front load my 401k for the very first time. Now I have a work 401k and I'm able to put in the max, per year. And I wanted to actually front load it this year. And it's something that I had never heard of doing before. I had just, evenly split out my paychecks over the 26 paychecks throughout the year. But this time I actually front loaded it where I was able to put in about 60-70% of the portfolio in the first 3 to 4 months of the year. And then I was able to then put in a smaller percentage the rest of the year in order to get my employer match. And this is something that if you have an employer match where you need to put in every paycheck to get that employer match, then you still need to contribute throughout the whole year, which is my scenario. But if you have an employer match that just matches to a certain percentage, you can possibly front load your entire account in the first 3 to 4 months of the year, and then and just enjoying the benefits of the growth in the market by front loading it. The next goal was to auto invest our investments in our brokerage accounts. And it's something that I actually pushed back until June of 2021 when I finally turned on auto investing. And this meant that I had transferred a certain amount of money into the account each month, and then I would auto invest certain days of the month, sometimes up to 8 days of the month. Instead of weekly, it was a couple of times a week, where it auto buy the index funds that I wanted it to buy. And it's something that I really enjoyed being able to convert into that mentality so that I was not trying to time the market. It was all done on its own, and the money flowed where it needed to flow into our investment portfolios. The next goal is actually to decrease the emergency funds that I had built up over the last several years. It's something that I realized while learning during 2021 that I had way too much money in cash and I needed to funnel it into my investment portfolio. So I was able to decrease that and put a lot into my investment and brokerage portfolios instead. And the final goal was to invest as much as possible into our investment accounts, whether that was our 401k or solo 401k from our businesses, my Roth IRA, and our brokerage accounts. And I was able to invest 6 figures on my own into those accounts. So it was really rewarding to see that I was able to do that independently. It's something that as a woman and a small business owner was really important for me to be able to do this independently. My husband and I keep our finances very separate still, even though I manage a lot of the money flow in our lives. Our accounts are separate, and I really want to make sure that I achieve financial freedom independent of anyone else in my life. So it's something that was a big achievement for me, and I hope that this really inspires you as you're moving forward into your financial freedom journey as well. Looking back on our word for the year in 2021, my word for the year was abundance. And overall, I really feel that I had a really abundant year in 2021. I was able to achieve a lot of goals I set out to achieve. Some of the stretch goals I even set out to achieve, from the keynote speaking events to the invited presentations that I had. They really were stretch goals that I went above and beyond to achieve. And I really put myself out there by having this YouTube channel and sharing with you a lot of my journey, sharing very openly about our student loans and all the numbers, and sharing very openly coming up about why we did not have a wedding and things like that I didn't think I would actually share about on this YouTube channel. So I'm really glad that I've been able to open up about some of these goals and some of the things happening on in my life. And I hope that this inspires you to be able to also set your goals high, work on achieving them, work on having an accountability partner through that journey with you as well. And I think that, abundantly, it's been really great for my mental, emotional health as well to have Lucky Bear in our lives. He's something that brings a lot of joy and laughter into my life, and he'll actually come up in our 2022 goals as well. So I hope that you are recapping your 2021 year and seeing what went well, where were areas of improvement, and what are some things that you want to let go that are no longer serving you or no longer aligning with your values and your goals. Because sometimes we just need to say, it's not the right time, or I've changed my mind and it doesn't align anymore. I'm also really excited to share our 2022 year goals and financial goals with you as well. I really appreciate all of you. Thank you for supporting and encouraging this YouTube channel. Thank you again for taking action by downloading our Burnout Starter Kit, our KAKEIBO Method Financial Freedom Starter Kit. I can't wait to see what 2022 holds for all of you. Until next time, cultivate joy.